Okay, great. Now I can share my screen. A little technical glitch here to become a change agent. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I also want to uh, give you the link so that you can follow along if you would like. There's some links inside of it that would be helpful to you. So let me copy this link and I'm going to then share my screen. And I guess I can click on share my screen right here. Here we go. And then in the chat, I'm going to put a link to this presentation. Please let me know if anything, I guess we don't quite have it there, if anything doesn't work on that link. So let me go ahead and highlight that. See what we get here. If anyone wants to open that and just let me know, that would be appreciated. Okay, so we're starting today with this first standard. They're not in any particular order, but if we click on the ISTE Coaching Standards, they put them in a particular order. And so this is 4.1. And as you look at the ISTE Coaching Standards, these are the ones we'll be discussing this year. If you click on Change Agent, then you're going to see some of the substandards, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's take a look at this slideshow right here. Let me put this in a slideshow. So we coaches, as you do in schools every day, you inspire educators to use technology and to create equitable and ongoing high quality learning experiences. So let's look at some of the ways that you do that. We're going to talk today about how coaches can informally meet up with teachers around the school, as you probably do in the faculty room, next to the water fountain. Perhaps you're attending the PLCs and maybe meeting with your principal. So, as you meet with teachers and principals and so forth, you are participating in the discussions about changes in the school. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the substandards of this standard change agent. The 5 substandards are as follows. You're going to be teachers or coaches, I should say. You create a shared vision in the school, and that also tends to change the culture. We also want to see an equitable use of digital technology in the school, digital learning tools. I won't read it all off since you can read it. We cultivate a supportive coaching culture so that teachers are comfortable. We also recognize teachers that are, maybe they're a tech expert in the school. Maybe they become a Google certified educator, but teachers who use technology to impact learning. Then the next one, and this is what Kara's talking about a lot today, is connected leaders and educators through maybe social media or something. So let's look at each one of these substandards right now. So the first one here, the shared vision that we create in schools. First of all, you participate in a school-wide vision. Maybe you're on a committee that talks about technology in the school. You advertise what you do. I've seen many coaches that will send out a really nice Canva newsletter or some kind of newsletter advertising what's coming up, not only the Tech Tuesday, but what's happening in the school. And then I've seen coaches, they go to where the teachers are, faculty room, so on and so forth. And teachers or coaches participate in the different meetings in the schools with the principals to talk about the overall school culture. Let's look at the second substandard, the equitable use of digital learning tools. So these are just some ideas here. I have choice boards, and we're going to look at a choice board in just a minute that can provide options and ideas for students and teachers. Maybe you take time in a staff meeting to show a really interesting tool that you've learned, or just some little aspect of a tool. For example, in Google Docs, instead of having page breaks, you can have a pageless doc. So there's no page breaks. Maybe you show something like that. And then listening in PLCs and providing options for teachers. So the third substandard, and I really like that graphic right there, is supporting a very supportive culture of coaching. So as a coach, we've got to be authentic with teachers and meet the teachers where they're at. So maybe they're sort of the beginning phase of something. And then you'll have other teachers that are experts at that. So wherever the teachers are, you meet them there. And then embrace incremental change. And that's what I liked about that graphic, showing that teeny little steps can add up to be quite a massive improvement. And then as coaches, we need to remain non-evaluative and also make time for informal chats about anything, their dogs, their vacations, and so forth. The fourth substandard is recognizing the educators in the school who are using technology effectively and enabling that high impact teaching and learning. So I'm sure you have ways that you celebrate teachers' successes publicly, whether it's in a staff meeting or in a newsletter or on your website. And then you might want to consider, if you haven't already, creating some type of formal recognition of teachers, for example, badges, the things that you see there. And the fifth substandard, which Kara is talking about right now, is connect leaders and educators. And so I have some ideas here that you can serve as a liaison between stakeholders. So maybe you're bringing in the district tech to show your students how to do things on Chromebooks that are constantly coming up, and the teacher themselves may not know. So maybe you get students to be tech helpers. You have teachers all over your schools that are experts on whether it's Google Slides or PowerPoint or Google Sheets or whatever, and getting those teachers to maybe show something in a Tech Tuesday or a short little tidbit in a staff meeting be a great way to connect those teachers with the staff. Then you want to be purposely using technology tools. And so I put the word resources off to the side because sometimes we will say this purposely used, but what resources? And maybe you're gathering a list of resources in Wakelet or in Google Keep or some way that you share with teachers. Now, the next one is number 6, which is not part of the ISTE standards, but is part of the Jordan District. We call it the Big 6. These are the district approved programs in Jordan District that you've, I'm sure, heard of all of these and have some, if not a lot of experience with all of these. And these are individually linked. So for example, Kiara is over Adobe. If we click on Adobe, let me see if I can just open that right here. Each of these links to our Big 6 will open up to our digital learning page, to the topic on our digital learning page. And Kiara keeps this updated. And so for each of the Big 6 topics on our webpage, we have some information about getting started with that program, learning resources that as an instructional coach, you probably don't have time to go find those resources. So we want to provide those for you. And then for each of the resources, we're providing social media information so that you can, if you would like to follow, for example, this will link out to Adobe Creative Express, their Twitter account. And then Kiara, who's excellent at Adobe, this is her contact information. So on each one of these Big 6 topics, you'll see pretty much the same format. I'll do one more just to kind of, I guess, drill it in a little bit. So again, getting started, signing in instructions, and learning resources, and again, social media. If you have not had a chance to look at this Canva back to school, Colby put this together, and it's wonderful. There's so many resources here for students and teachers. I think that just sharing this alone with teachers could probably last for as a resource for several months. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at some different resources. So let me click on this. I'll go back one page. Here we go. So on this page right here, you can see that I've embedded a, oh gosh, the word, choice board. And also a document about instructional coaches, you as change agents, which is something you do every day. But let's take a look at just a few of these topics that I think that you will find really interesting. So let's see, I'm not checking the chat out, but um, okay, we're okay. All right. So one of the favorite tools that we use in our department, and Colby is really good with this, is Wakelet. So what I have right here is a link that you can click on, and you can add your favorite tech tool to this Wakelet if you want to. It's an empty Wakelet right now, but if you want to add a tool to it, you certainly can. So it's going to open up to Wakelet. I put September 6th change agent. You can paste any web address. FYI, as we found out, when we paste a web address into Wakelet, it takes a minute. So we end up pasting it again, and then the link pops up there twice. So let me just go back home really quick and just show you. I created a Wakelet collection of various explorers in the Antarctic that I followed their information because I had a trip down there one time. And so I can just add images, pictures, videos, and so forth. So if you haven't had a chance to use Wakelet for gathering some of the resources that you might want to share with teachers, perhaps in a Tech Tuesday, or perhaps as a way to give teachers ideas on different tools, I think you'll find this absolutely, this tool is a knockout tool. Now, I think all of you were in the session where we used Blooket. That was, I believe, last Friday, and the secondary, I think, was last week. So I think you know a little bit about Blooket and how fun that is, especially when you get to steal somebody's gold. Let's just go right across here. Be Internet Awesome comes from Google, and there are wonderful resources, as you see, to help kids make good decisions, be confident internet users. And so as I scroll down, you can see just some basic topics that you'll find in here. But what you can do is you can click on educators over here. And this Interland is a fun little game that students can play and learn more about the internet, how to keep safe, and so forth. So let me close that window. There we go. If you haven't used Flippity, oh my gosh, I totally love Flippity because I love spreadsheets. But with Flippity, you can, it's flippity.net, not .com. Let's say you just want to have a random name picker. So we'll just do something simple. So you can actually click on the demo, and you can sort of see what Flippity does. But of course, you want your students' names in there, not the names that they have. So every one of these Flippity options has a little demo, and then it has instructions. So you can click on the instructions, and you can see that what you're going to do is add your names there, and it gives you some steps that you're going to modify the Google Sheet, and then you can use Flippity. I have loved using several of these tools. There, oh, here's a new one, Flippity Flex Cards. I haven't seen that one yet. So maybe you might want to give some of these a try. You can create certificates of completion, or if you're having some sort of tournament bracket game in your classroom, you could use something like that. All right, so let's continue. How much time do we have? How many? 10 minutes. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I just didn't know how much time I had. All right. Sorry about that. So the next one, I love this one. Google Arts and Cultures. Your kids will be enamored of this. If you haven't had a chance to go to Google Arts and Cultures, run, don't walk. So what Google has done is they've gathered resources from over 2,000 cultural institutions throughout the world, and they have put them on this website right here for students and teachers alike to go enjoy it. So some of the fun things that students can do, I'm going to click on this play button in the upper right hand corner. So there's all sorts of options that the students can click on to play. One of the ones that I think students and teachers really like is called 3D Pottery. If you haven't seen that yet, you'd like it. It'll load, it'll give you just a little image there, and there all of the play options do a similar thing. They'll have the information about the option, and then they'll have a link about that. They'll have an image about it over here. So when you click on play, it tells you that you're going to connect through the ages and the civilizations and look at artwork from many different centuries and see if you can't recreate that piece of pottery. So you'd click on the pottery right there, and then you click on let's go, and you do your very best with your mouse to create the pottery. I've never ever been able to do it because mine end up looking pretty bad, but you end up you do your best to create it, and then you decorate it, then you fire it, and then you get a comparison to this pottery here. So that could be used as a quick finisher because the pottery that you see, these are these are all from antiquity, and so students can try to do their best to recreate it. This will be a fun one in your class. I won't do it right now, but blob opera's got to be one of the favorite ones. So as you can see, there's lots of different ones. This one play Kandinsky. It plays music to the artwork and so forth. There are all sorts of visual crosswords, whereas as opposed to putting words, you're putting pictures in, and you're using pictures, maybe images from the same era. So that's just really fun. So I would encourage you to explore um, Google Arts and Culture. There's just so much there. I love that. The next one is Google Drawing. And I honestly kind of put Google Drawing to the side because I thought, gosh, it takes just so long to create something in Google Drawing. And then I ran across Tony Vincent from Shapegrams. And I'll just click on this website. So Tony Vincent, you can click on Get Shapegrams. Now, it does cost, but there's a lot for free. And you can see the ones that are free. And the students can click on it, make a copy of it, and try to recreate it. Now, the thing I love about Tony Vincent, and I'm sure you will too, is that he has a video on every single shapegram that he does, and he likes to tell puns, and some of them are pretty funny, and some of them are, puns that we tell in church. So check out Google Drawing. I know your students would love it. And there's some that are very, very basic and some that are so intense. So I really would hope that you'll check it out. I think we've all heard of Padlet before, pretty much where you post notes. If you haven't heard of Padlet before, you can use it as a type of a whiteboard, and the students can post notes to it, videos, text, drawings. Next, I'd like to draw your attention to Google Applied Digital Skills. I have overlooked this for a while, and I regret that I have. Google Applied Digital Skills allows teachers to go get a packaged lesson, a nice sweet smelling package. Here we go. You can browse the lessons. It's all tied up with a ribbon here for you. So you can determine the audience. So maybe you're middle school, and the digital tool that you're looking for maybe is Google Sheets. And so these lessons right here, each of these lessons has an example of the outcome, and then you click to start it, and there will be videos. I won't play the video, but each of the videos is maybe about 2 minutes, and you'll see that there's a set of videos, and the student can go through it and follow the instructions. So let's say you are having a substitute come in one day. You can just go to Google Applied Digital Skills and grab a ready made lesson that's just teaching practical skills for students. The next one that I want to show you is Chrome extensions. Now, why Chrome extensions? Well, we all pretty much use Chrome extensions, I think. My favorite one is when I want to start a Google Doc, I just click up here and then I start a doc or a spreadsheet or a presentation. That's called Google Docs Quick Create. My one of my favorite people who will be speaking at uh, USET this year in March put together a list of Chrome extensions. Oh, here's the list right here. Now, I don't know about all these extensions, whether that's probably very difficult to read. Let's see if we can't just make that a little bit bigger here. So you can see the extension name, the description, and then it gives you the link. So you might want to take a look at some of these and see if any of these might be what you need. There's that dyslexia friendly one. I tried that one time. So give that a shot. I think you'll find at least one or two extensions that you haven't seen before that you'll really like. Okay, so Google Experiments. Oh my goodness. It's sort of like Google Arts and Culture, but it's all about experimenting with real life or what could be real life. So there's a set of collections here, and you can go down and grab an experiment. You can click on experiments right here. Now, I do notice there's a bit of a crossover between Google Arts and Culture and Google Experiments. I've seen a few things on arts and culture that also end up here. One of the things, if you're teaching, I believe it's fifth, maybe it's sixth grade, that does that talks a lot about the pyramids of Egypt. Well, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that name right. I say Merho, but I don't know. And this is a beautiful website about that discusses these pyramids that are found in the is it southern Sudan? I think it's in southern Sudan, and the pictures are amazing. And there's you can enter a pyramid and look around, so it's just absolutely amazing. So there's lots of oh, there's the jug again, or the pottery, not a jug. Where is Hopper is a fun one. You get a little penguin that is hopping around the world. It's kind of nice. You can take a look at all of these. There's just so many beautiful things. Experiments. Chopin Everywhere is wonderful. It's a little extension you can put on your your Chromebook, and then whenever you go to Wikipedia, notes fly off the page. It's really kind of fun. All right, so let's move on. I think most of you saw Cody or Colby, I always call him that, talk about Classroom Screen recently. If you haven't, we'll just look at it really quick. It's just a quick way to manage your classroom. Well, that's not the right word, manage your classroom. I don't think that's the correct way of saying it. But let's say that you want to set a timer for 6 minutes or 5 minutes. There we go. And then you can click go and the timer will be running. Of course, you can change the background. Um, you can add images, you can draw, you can put a little traffic light there. And maybe you want the kids to go and be talking in their groups. And there are a bunch of different widgets that you can use. And so give this one a shot. I think you'll love it. I think your students will love it too. All right. So the last one that I'm coming to, there's so many more. This was just a little selection, but Jamboard. So why did I put Matt Miller down here? Because Matt Miller has 4 videos, well done videos on. Oh, let's see. I guess I need to turn this off. Here we go. We'll skip this ad. This is Matt Miller. You may recognize him from Ditch That Textbook. And Matt Miller has done 4 videos on Jamboard. So if you just Google in YouTube, if you just highlight this and put Google Jamboard number 2, Google Jamboard number 3, and so forth, you'll find wonderful ideas about how to use Google Jamboard, not only with your class, but when you meet with teachers as well. Excuse me, just one second. How many minutes do I have? Okay, so I covered what I had prepared for today. Just one thing in this main document right here, I just added a little Google Doc right here, and I have some of the same information we've covered. But you may remember a minute ago, I mentioned something about in file page setup. If you go down there, you can click on page list so there's no page breaks. But just as a bonus for sticking around this long, I'd just like to show you what you can insert if you haven't found it already. Building blocks. What kind of building blocks? Well, let's say you have something that you want to have some columns and maybe some drop down boxes. These names are not set in stones, nor are the columns, but you can edit any of these options to any word you want, or simply delete the column like you would any other column. And you can stretch these out if you would like to, just by grabbing this and stretching it out. Oops, I didn't quite get it the way I wanted there, did I? Anyway, I thought you might like to see those building blocks and also page lists. So I'm just going to wrap this up right now. I've shared this slideshow with you with some of these, the choice board and this document. And just to let you know, we've kind of gone over the 5 different substandards of the a change agent. And then, of course, we talked about our big 6 in the district. And I showed you where you can find links for all those resources. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you being here. And we will see you on October 4th. Oh, no, is it the 4th?
It is the 4th, yes. Thanks, Bonnie.
It's the
4th. Yeah, and just for those of you that are in this session, if you are interested in hearing Kira's session, the recording of that will be up on the Digital Teacher Leader Canvas course probably sometime tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then definitely by Thursday. So look for that if you're interested in seeing the other session. And thanks again, Bonnie. If you guys have any questions, you're welcome to stick around.
I just saw that Ashley uses Google Arts and Culture.
Yes.
That's great, Ashley.
Yes.